Welcome to LiveDaf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's Daf Hayemi Meseches NIDAH Daf Samach Dalet. We begin on the Mishnah on Samach Gimel Mebeis, 4 lines from the bottom. It says the Mishnah, Haisa Lamuda Liyais Roya Yoim Chamisha Asar. A woman was accustomed to experience her period on day 15, which in this case means 15 days since she's total. And the same halacha would apply if it's day 15 of the month. The point is she had a regular trigger. So every 15 she would see dam. So she had an established track record. It happened at least 3 times that it was 15. And then 1 month she switches over to day 20. So day 15 is her vest kavua. As we discussed yesterday, it's an established track record, established pattern. She expected to see on day 15, in which case, every time day 15 rolls around, right, she has to mark it off as a Yom HaVest and refrain from her husband on that day. Now, if she switches 1 time only to day 20, so day 15 is still intact, it still remains in place until it's uprooted. Until she's accurate at least 3 times, which means 3 times she has to switch. She has to replace that day with another day. But until that happens, even if she switched 1 time, that's not enough. Until it happens at least 3 times. So at this point, day 15 is in place, and day 20 is considered still sort of pending. It's called a vest sheinu kivua, not an established trigger, but there's a concern that perhaps next time around, day 20 will trigger dam, and therefore she has to mark off day 20 as well, until that's undone. Now, day 20 can be easily undone, because just 1 time an akira on day 20 undoes it. So if next time around she sees on a different day, rather than 20 goes off the list. So again, Hasi Lamuda Liyais Royim Tesvav, her vest kavod was 15. Vishin Liyais Royim Chav, she moves on to day 20. Zevez Asur, at this point 15 and 20 are Asur. Shinsa Pamayim Liyim Chav, let's say next time around again, she switched from day 15 to day 20, Zevez Asur. So 15 is still in place, and 20 is in place as well. Shinsa Gimel Pamim Liyim Chav. But it happened 3 times. So 3rd time again, she ignored 15 and switched over to day 20. That undoes, that cancels, that deletes day 15 off the calendar. Huter Tesvav, going forward, she's mutter on day 15. It no longer poses a concern. Rather, day 20 has been established as a vest kavua. Why, says the Mishnah? Because for a vest kavua, you need 3 times to establish, and once established, 3 times to undo. Sheini shekavas lavest. Ad shekbe'eno gimel pam. A woman will only kaveh a vest. If it happened 3 times, veina mita eres min vest. And conversely, she can't free herself of that vest effect until she switches out 3 times. Ad shete oker mimeno gimel pam. Unless she switches out from that yom vest at least 3 times. Okay, so again, speaking about a standard type of vest, it was month after month on the same day. That turns into a vest kavua, which can only be undone by switching out 3 times. Says the Gemara on the next Talmud, Itma. What about something called a vest hadiluk, a skipping vest? This month it's 15, next month it's 16, the following month it's day 17. So it's the same amount plus a day. Plus a day, plus a day. That establishes something called a vest hadiluk, in which case, going forward, she has to just keep adding a day per month. Now the question is, how many times do we need to experience dam to establish this type of sequence? So Chodesh Nisan was day 15. V'yom tazayin l'chodesh zeh. Next month, Iyar, was day 16. So it's a month plus. V'yom shiva'asar l'chodesh zeh. The next month, Chodesh Sivan, it was a full month plus another day. So it's 15, 16, and 17. So you can consider that to be a triple skip, which establishes a full-fledged pattern, a skipping pattern. Right? 15, 16, 17. On the other hand, you can argue that day 15 cannot be reckoned as part of that skipping pattern because that was a starting point, that was ground zero. She hadn't skipped yet at day 15. 15 was a starting point. And she only skipped twice, to 16 to 17. That is the subject of our machlekes. Rav Amar, even if it's a total of 3, 15, 16, and 17, kaval vest ladilo. She established herself a skipping vest. The next month, day 18 is on the calendar. Next month, day 19. Ushmul Amar Asher Teshalash Bedil. She has to do a triple skip, which didn't happen in this place. You need another skip. You need 15 as a starting point. Skip it to 16, to 17, and to 18 to establish a vest hadiluk. Says the Gemara, name of Rav Shmuel, perhaps this machlekes between them hinges on a universal machlekes between Rebbe, who says that typically twice establishes a chazaka, whereas Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says you need 3 times, a triple phenomenon to establish track record. Name of Rav Shmuel bepluked to the Rebbe, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel kamiflagi. The Sani, where do we find this machlekes? By a woman whose husband dies, time after time. Nisas Larishan, she married Reuven Umeis, and he passed away on her. She remarried Lashana to Shimon, and likewise, tragedy strikes Umeis. She has an established track record. She has her mazel causes her husband to die on her. She shouldn't marry the next person. The Rebbe, going to Rebbe, twice establishes a chazaka. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says, no worry, until the next time. She can marry Levi. And if it happens a third time, she can't marry Yehuda because now she's considered katlanis, one whose husbands die on her. So perhaps the same exact machlekes applies by us regarding how many times it takes to establish a vest hadiluk. Rabbi says 15, 16, and 17 is enough because he holds, even though it was just a double skip from 15 to 16 over to 17, that's sufficient to make a chazaka. Whereas Shmuel holds like the other shita. We need 3 to make a track record, in which case over to 16 to 17 and to 18 to make a vest hadiluk. No, the kul yam, everybody. Rav and Shmuel, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel go with the shita. Typically 3 is needed to establish chazaka. Machlekes here is as follows. Rav says we have 3 because day 15 counts. Look, it's 15 to 16 to 17. Chamisha asa minyana. Ushmol savar, no. You have to discount 15. Since day 15 wasn't a skipping experience, it was a starting point. Lav minyana, who you can't consider as part of your count. In which case you need 3 skips aside from 15. Now comes a kasha on Rav, who says 3 in total is enough. Lemuda means she was accustomed to sing on that day. She had a vest kavua, an established track record, established pattern. To see on Yom Tezvav on day 15 of the month. And then she switched the next month, Yom Shisha Asr, day 16. Okay, it's just a one-time switch. Day 15 is still in place until it's uprooted 3 times, right? So Zevazeh Asur, so days 15 and day 16, the next time around, are both Asur. Shin Yom Shiva Asur, next time around she went over to 17, so that uproots day 16 because it only was a one-time thing, which can easily be uprooted by switching away just once. So 16 is off the record, Hutar Shisha Asur, but 15 is still in place because we're still waiting for 3 switches. V'nasa Chamisha Asur, V'shiva Asur. So 15 and 17 are now on the calendar. Shin Yom Shemina Asur, next month around it's day 18. So that's a triple switch out of 15. Hutru Kulan. So everything is mutter except for next month you have 19, which is the day after 18. Ve'in Asr. And the only concern applies to Ella Mishmael Asar Ella from past 18, meaning the next month 19, the month after 20. Okay, Kasha L'Rab. Now there's going to be a Kasha on Rab who says we don't need so many to establish a skipping vest. Why does the Brisa require going from 15 to 16 to 17 to 18, which is 4 in total, whereas according to Rav, once you get to 17, you have that triple skip, which is enough to establish a vest hadiluk. He says, Rav, here it's so different because I was speaking where 15 was really the starting point. She never had dam before, or she never had an established vest, so it's sort of a new experience, unrelated to past experiences, in which case it can be sequenced as part of the skipping set. 15 to 16 to 17, it's considered a triple skip, a triple switch. Whereas in a case where it was lemuda, meaning she had a vest kavua, established pattern for day 15. So day 15 cannot be reckoned as part of the new skipping pattern because he is a card-carrying member of the old day 15 pattern. He belongs to that experience. So in order to establish a new skipping vest, you need fresh days that don't identify with other experiences. And that can only be accomplished by having day 15 followed by 16 to 17 to 18. So 16, 17, 18 get you a sum total of 3, which according to me is enough. But we have to discount 15 in this case. It can't be counted as part of our sequence, because it belongs to the old Best Kavua. Now, what was the Akasha? What were we thinking? Udakarilo, the one that posed this question on Rav from a Brisa, which clearly discusses a case where 15 belonged to a different sequence. Mike Arlo, what was he contemplating? What was he asking this question even? He figured that, true, although the Brisa does refer to a case where it was Lemuda, day 15 was part of a previously established track record, it's not to say that it would make any difference. The only reason why, meaning even without that element, you still need 4 to create a skipping sequence, and that was the premise of his question to Rav. So why then didn't, in fact, the Brisa relate to a case of Lemuda? It's not really relevant to this discussion. Lemuda Tzrichalei, the Brisa did want to specifically refer to Lemuda to teach us as follows. The Tema, in order to teach us the other side, other point of the Brisa, which is that how do we undo, right? There's one aspect of being keveya. How do we establish? Then the question is, how do we undo? To undo, you need 3 akiros. But I would think maybe, in this case where it was such a regular, anticipated, expected pattern, 15, month after month, maybe once you deviate once, twice, that's enough of an indication. Look, she's off that track already. Otherwise, why is she deviating twice? Even that's too much. And you don't need 3 times. Since she was accustomed to that day, time after time, she had 2 akiros. Perhaps that's enough to delete it. Kamashwan, no, says the Brisa, even in this case. An akira only gets done with 3 switches, which in fact happened in this case. Once she switched from 15 to 16 to 17 days, 3 akiros, it cancels 15. Okay, in any case, back to our discussion regarding establishing a vest hadilog, a skipping vest. So it turns out that all agree, if the day 15, the starting point of this new sequence, belonged to an old pattern, you can't count it as part of the new sequence. Even Rav would agree you need 3 additional dates, 16, 17, and 18, to establish a vest hadilog. Machlekes is when it's a brand new day, unrelated to any past experiences. There we have a machlekes. Now all agree that to establish a chazaka, we're going to go with Rav Shimon Gamliel, that you need 3 to make a track record. Rab says you have it, 15, 16, and 17. Shmuel says no, 15 was never skipped. So 15 is the starting point to trigger the skipping sequence over to 16 to 17 to 18. Meisvei. Now comes a kasha on Shmuel, who says you need a sum total of 4 to establish a vest hadilug. Meisvei. Rasa yem esrim ve'echad b'chodesh. This month she saw day 21. Next month, day 22. Next month, day 23. Yoim Esrim Mishnayim B'Chodesh Zeh, day 22. Yoim Esrim Mishloish B'Chodesh Zeh, and day 23 on the next month. Kavala vest. There you go. That's a vest with merely 3 dates. Now, circle Yoim Esrim Arba. Suppose instead of going from 22 to 23, she went straight to 24. It's called a sirug, extra skip. So now she lost her neat skipping pattern. Lo kavala vest. She doesn't have a vest hadilug in this case. You have to do Shmuel. This seems to be a kasha on Shmuel, who requires 4 dates in total. Here it's just 3, 21, 22, and 23. The Gemara is assuming 21 is the starting point. Amalach Shmuel, no. Shmuel says, my skin here was speaking that 20 was already in place from before. Going to Regila Lamechzri Masrim. She was accustomed to having a period on day 20. It was an established vest kavua. Then she switched over next month to 21, over to 22, 23. As Rashi explains, the Brisa typically works with neat numbers. You want to speak about 20s, you start with 20. 20 to 20. Why would you start at 21? The Gemara Dekanami, I'll even prove to you that the starting point was 21. The Shavkina Liyam Esrim. Why did we abandon day 20 and start right in the middle, parachute right in the middle of the 20 set? V'nokat Liyam Esrim Echen, refer to 21 as the first. I mean, no, clearly 20 was already in the equation from beforehand. She had a vest kavua on day 20. Next month she switches to 21, over to 22, 23, so it's a sum total of 4 to establish a vest hadilug, which is exactly like Shmuel. Okay, again, in summation, how do you establish the vest hadilug? If the starting point was a vest kavua, she was accustomed to having day 15. Even Rab would agree. A vest hadilug only happens if she goes to 16, to 17, to 18. But otherwise, Rav says 3 in total is enough. Shmuel says you always need 4 in total, because the first one doesn't count as part of the skipping dates. Says the Moshe, Isha kavas lavest ashetik ben avachul. How do we establish the vest kavua? By repeating it 3 times. Amra papa lo yamarna al mikba. That's only to establish it as a vest kavua with all its repercussions. Aval lameichash lo b'chadazim nechaysha. So to make a vest kavua, you need 3 times. And once you have that established, you can't uproot it unless you switch out 3 times. But lameichash lo, to arouse some concern, b'chadazim nechaysha, with 1 experience. It's already on the calendar for next month. Hey, mark it off. Maybe. It's a potential. Tanina, what's Rav Papa's chiddush? This is already discussed in the Mishnah. So she had 15 as her set date. And 1 month she switched to 20. So although it's just 1 switch, it's already on the calendar for some concern. Zev is asur, and 15 is still asur, of course, because it wasn't uprooted 3 times, and 20 is now on the calendar. Clearly, merely 1 experience already triggers some concern on some level. Well, only from that Mishnah, I would say, perhaps that's only when that new experience occurred during the days of the month where she's prone to have dam during the NIDAH zone of the month. But if that new date arrived during the part of the month where she's not expected to see dam, it's during the May Ziva, 11 days, I'd follow the May Ziva, follow the May NIDAH. So perhaps in that case, since she's not expected to see dam, it's an anomaly, it's something unusual. And therefore it doesn't pose any concern, Kamash Malon. Rav Papa says in all cases, even a single experience does trigger some concern on some level. So to establish the vest kavua, it needs to happen 3 times. But even 1 experience does trigger some concern. She has to mark it off as a day of abstinent until that is cancelled by switching out. Well, one time, 1 switch out is enough, since it's only a vest she'eina kavua. Okay, so just like to establish a vest kavua, you need 3 times. Likewise, to uproot a vest kavua, until she switches out 3 times. Once again, our Papa. When do we need 3 switch outs? When it was established with 3 experiences, which made it a veskavua. The tzrichi, tlasa, zimni, l'mi'akri. So in that case, you need 3 switches to cancel it. Aval trei zimni, but suppose she only experienced it twice. In that case, it's not an established track record. How do we undo it? By merely ignoring it once. By switching away one time is enough. My Kamashman again, what's our Papa's Chiddush? This too is discussed in our Mishnah. She can't establish something kavua, permanent, unless it happens 3 times. So clearly, anything less than 3, including 2, doesn't have that status and can be easily undone. Perhaps there's room to think the numbers have to match up. So, if it happened once, you have to undo it once. Happened twice, you have to undo it twice. Just as when it happens 3 times, you have to undo it 3 times. So the numbers have to match up. Perhaps there's room to suggest chada, 1 undoing l'chad, corresponding to 1 experience. Trei, 2 switch outs, l'tarti, to undo a double experience. With l'asa, and 3 to undo a triple experience. Kamashmon comes our Papa and says no. It's all or nothing. Unless you have an established vest kavua through 3 experiences, which in fact need 3 to undo, anything less than that can be undone easily by just 1 switch out. Whether it happened once or it happened twice, 1 akira is enough. Tanya, in fact, we have a brisa which supports this notion, Papa, that even if something happened twice, even if there was a repeat, you can undo it by switching out just once. She was accustomed to having it on day 20. So she had a vest kavua for day 20. Comes the next month, Vishinsa liyam shleish. Chodesh Nisan, instead of 20, she's switched out to day 30. Okay, so day 30 gets added to the calendar, and day 20 still remains intact because it wasn't undone 3 times. Zev is Esr, and both are us. Next month around, Chodesh Ir, he gave Yom Esr L'Yarasa. Day 20, she missed. She's okay until day 30. But she's still concerned about day 30, because she had it last month. Okay, and what happened this month? In fact, bingo, day 30 she in fact experienced dam. This is on the 2nd month, Chodesh Ir. Comes next month, Chodesh Sivan, nothing happens. Not on day 20, not on day 30. So the 3rd month, nothing happened. So where is she holding at this point? Well, technically, she still has day 20 in place because she never switched away from it more than twice. True, she missed it a 3rd time, but that's not enough to uproot it. You have to replace it with another day of dam. So the 1st month, it happened. She replaced 20 with 30. 2nd month again, 20 was replaced by 30. But the 3rd month, it wasn't replaced by anything because she had nothing. So day 20 is still in place, and day 30, which happened twice, triggers some concern on some level, although it's not an established vest. And what happened the 4th month, Chodesh Tammuz? Day 20 comes back. Look who's back in town, day 20. So day 20 gets reestablished, and day 30 is off the hook. Why? Because now she switched away from day 30 and she re-experienced Dam on day 20. That's an Akira on the day 30, even though day 30 happened twice. So it proves that even a repeat can be easily undone by a 1 switch out, by a single replacement. V'rasa, day 20 arrives on the 4th month and she's seeing Dam. Hutuyam Shleishim. Shleishim is off the hook. The Nasar returned to Beis. Yom Esrim, and day 20 is back in business. Because Shoirach, the guest, Bismani shows up on time. Meaning, this was her old period that just got reinstated, reestablished. So this confirms our Papa's halacha that only a vest kavua, which had a triple experience, needs a full akira to undo that by way of a triple replacement. But just a 1-time experience or even a double experience can be undone by a single replacement. Says the Mishnah, Noshim b'psuleim kikfanim. So an Isha who never interacted with a man, she has the psulim intact, the hymen membrane, which gets ruptured, gets torn, and produces dam. That dam is not dam nidah. But to allay the man's concern that perhaps expecting a certain color, which he'll attribute to the psulim, and when he sees a different color, perhaps he'll suspect that it's dam nidah, says the Mishnah, not to worry. It comes in all shapes, all colors, all forms. Noshim b'psuleim kikfanim, women with their dam b'sulim are like vines, which produce different colored wines. Yesh gefen she'eina adam, you have a vine which produces red wine. Yesh gefen she'eina shach, you have a vine produces black wine. Yesh gefen she'eina meruba, yesh gefen she'eina mut, some vines produce a lot, some a little. So it comes in all variations and forms. Not to worry. But in general, a woman is expected to have dam b'sulim, dam nidah. It's a sign of health, a sign of fertility. Amar, Amar, every vine is expected to have some measure of wine. Without wine, there is a durkati. She's called a durkati. Tana, we learned in the Brisa, durkati means durkatua, a cut off dur, meaning not very fertile, not very prone to have many offspring. Tana Reb Chia. Likewise, on this topic, Reb Chia says, "Kashem shasori afalis," just like sourdough benefits the dough and makes it rise and develops it. Kach dam yafal isha. Likewise, the dam is beneficial for the isha as a system, a sign of health, a sign of fertility, a sign of abundant offspring. Tanam shura meir, we learned from our mayor, kol isha sh'damem Reuben, b'nem Reuben. Lots of dam, lots of kids. Hanul cha'isha. Okay, begin a new parak. Last parak of Maseches NIDAH. And again, we're going to be on the topic of dam b'sulim, which of course is not dam nidah and doesn't render her tamei. The question is, until what point can we attribute the dam produced by their interaction to be dam b'sulim, dam of a wound, which of course is harmless? And at what point onward do we have to already concern ourselves that perhaps it's hard to tell them apart, so perhaps we have to be concerned that it's really dam nidah, which it does pose a concern. So the general formula was that we give the isha a certain window, a certain leeway of time to attribute the dam to the psulim, to the freshly torn hymen membrane. But depending on how prone she is to have dam nidah, depending on the age factor, on the experience factor, that window will shorten relative to our concern about the arrival of dam nidah. So the greater the concern of real dam nidah, the shorter the time frame, the shorter the leeway is in terms of how far we can attribute the dam to dam b'sulim. So in general, we have three categories. We have the tinoikis, the young woman, underage, below 12 years old, not expected to have her period. And in fact, Shlei Gizman Alibris, right? It's not yet time for the period. The Gemara actually will tell us that when she's so young, we don't really care. Even if she had dam previously, she's not expected to see dam. It's an unusual occurrence. Now she's married for the first time. Any dam produced during the beginning, during the first, is assumed to be dam b'sulim and harmless. Question is, how far do we go? How long does she get this dam b'sulim pass? B'sham ha'imrim, 4 nights. Noisna arba leilos. In which case, even if she'll see dam during these nights of interaction with her husband, the dam is harmless, it's dam b'sulim, because it takes that long for the wound to heal up. Still say, don't stop at 4 nights. Give her until we know the mak of the wound has healed. Ad shetich mak. Next category is a woman of age. She's already at 12. Finishes. So at this point, it's more likely that sooner or later she'll have dam nidah. So we shorten that allowance. She gets only the first night. and not past. Until Motzei Shabbos, which is a total of 4 nights. Presuming she married on Wednesday, which was the custom for a Psul to marry on Wednesday, so she has Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Motzei Shabbos. Third level is Ra'asa v'oida v'esaviyah. She's past age, plus she had the prior Adam experience. And now she's marrying as a Besula. So the likelihood of Dam increased a tad more than the previous case, which only had the age factor without the experience. So in this case, we shorten it even more. She gets only the first interaction. It's called Bilas Mitzvah because she now becomes a receptacle and she's able to have children, which Gemara says in Isha is Kairas Bris, Lamisha Asa Keli, the one who made her into a vessel. She's bonded to him. So this experience solidifies the relationship and the marriage in general. Bilas Mitzvah. V'sil Aimrim Kalayla Kula, don't stop at the Bilas Mitzvah, she gets that complete night. And anything that happens throughout that night is attributed to Dam Besulim, and she's tar. So we have 3 categories in total. We have the underage, we have of age without experience, and we have age with experience. Now, underage, which gets the longest allowance. What if she also has experience? Anomaly, something unusual. She's underage, but she had some dam sometime. Amar Rav Nachman, Bar Yitzchak, not to worry, even if that underage woman had some dam, we discount it. It's not part of our equation. It's unusual, it's unnatural, it's not something expected, it's not something we have to reckon to our considerations. How do I know that's true? Because only in the next set of categories we have a distinction between yes experience and no experience. So when it's age plus experience, that increases the chances and changes the equation. Apparently the first set of circumstances, in the first category, where she was underage, experience is a non-factor. Loishna hachi, it doesn't matter whether she had or not. Tanami hachi, we find the same in a brisa. That experience is a non-factor when she's underage. We give her until that point, irrespective of experience. Bein rasa, bein loy rasa. Okay, now, according to Besilol, she has ashetich yamak. How do we define that? Until the wound heals. How do we know? Ashetich yamak. Until when? Amar Vidam Rav. So Rav explains, Kolzman shenoicheres. As long as she's noicheres. We'll see in a minute what that means. Can we say the Shmuel, Sir Yehuda, who's quoting Rav, says, when I related Rav's opinion to Shmuel, he disagreed. Amal, he says to me, Nechira zu, this Nechira, I'm not sure what this is. Any damn mahu. Ella, rather, my position is, Kolzman shayrik motzu b'psechapeh, use the analogy, like, as long as the saliva is still in the mouth. Meaning, it's an expression, the dam, as long as you know there's dam still in the area, machmas tashmish, due to interactions. Every time they're interacting, see dam, we assume the wound is not fully healed. Now, the term nechira dekam Rav that Rav referred to, hey chadami, how do we define it? Amar Rav Shmuel Rav Yitzchak l'dim farsh l'minei, the Rav explained to me, medes v'roi, depends on her position. And if the appearance of dam is linked to pressure on that area, which squeezes out the dam of the mak, then you can blame it on the mak. But if she sees dam all the time in any position, then it cannot be linked to the mak. For instance, a medes v'roya, she sees dam while she's standing, which puts pressure, closes the area and puts pressure on the wound, only then she sees dam. But if she's sitting relaxed, loosening the area, there's no dam. Yesheves ve'ena roya. Now we know, we know the wound is not yet healed and the wound is still producing dam. Another example, al gabe karka v'roya, if she's sitting on the ground, the hot surface, uncomfortable and puts pressure, then she sees dam. But if she's comfortable, al gabe karim ksasais and karim ksasais, pillows, mattress, then she has no dam. Ve'ena roya. Once again, that confirms that the dam is attributed to the unhealed wound. But if she consistently sees or consistently does not see, al gabi kulam, all these things, she's sitting on hard or soft, v'roi she sees dam, or al gabi kulam, or she never sees dam. In this case, you know the wound has been healed; it's no longer producing dam, and going forward, any dam is considered dam nida. Higiyazman. Now in the next category, you have a woman of age. Bisham may say the first night is her allowance, but still say, so they use sort of a double reference to the time frame. First they say until Matzah Shabbos, which sounds like it covers daytime too. And then they say Arba Leilas, 4 nights. Itma, we have an interesting discussion. Shem Shabbayamim. Let's say they interacted by day, which is not ideal, but Rav Amar Leiv Sida Leilas. She's not going to lose the nighttime allowance, which means to say, according to Rav, it's for a full days, from Wednesday to Matzah Shabbos. Whether they interacted by day, by night, it doesn't matter. V'Levi Amar, no, if Sida Leilas, she loses those nights. Rav Amar, Leiv Sida Leilas. Rav says, no loss. Ad Matzah Shabbos Tanan, Mishnah says, until Matzah Shabbos. So anything that transpires between Wednesday and Matzah Shabbos is all covered. V'Levi Amar Sida Leilas, she loses the nights. She only has 4 time units of opportunity. Pick your choice. You can choose 4 days or 4 nights. But it's one or the other. V'Levi Amar Sida Leilas, she loses the nights. My Arba Leilas L'Ktani, because the Mishnah speaks about 4 nights. Arba Oynes, it means 4 units of time. Unit of time is either a day or a night. So if she chose daytime, it's daytime, and she doesn't have the nights. Now, what's Rav going to do with Levi's diuk? What's Levi going to do with Rav's inference? Well, Rav, according to Rav, I understand Ad Matzah Shabbos, but why Arba Leilas? Why does the Mishnah have to reference nighttime? To teach us the appropriate time for interaction is nighttime. Oirach Aretz, the Reches Kamashmon is teaching us the Darka, the Bia, Baleilas. Typically, Bia happens at night. Ula Levi, conversely, according to Levi, why mention Ad Matzah Shabbos if it's just about the time units? Ula Levi, listen to Arba Leilas. Say Arba Leilas. The term Ad Matzah Shabbos, Lamali, what's that for? Hakamash Malon. The Mishnah is teaching us another side point. Interesting halacha, that they're allowed to interact on Shabbos, despite the fact that it may cause, it may exacerbate the wound, which isn't fully healed. The point of the Mishnah is to teach us the shari is permissible, that it's permissible to interact with a besul on Shabbos, because Shmuel teaches us, back in Maseches Ksuvos, using a metaphor, Damar Shmuel, Pirza de Chukah. You have this, narrow entry, which if you brush by, you might clip off some of the pebbles off the wall. You're allowed to enter it on Shabbos, even though the Shemesh Yitzreis, he's shearing off some of the wall material. It's not his intention here as well. It's mutter, despite the fact that it may cause some additional wounding. That's not the intent. And that's what the Mishnah is teaching us by referring to Matzah Shabbos, to allow interaction, even in the case of a Besula. Okay, so let's just summarize this section of the Gemara. Mishnah says a Besula is given an allowance. Nice to know, we give her some time until the Dam Besulim is depleted. So we have 3 levels. We have the Ktana, Lo Yigei Azmana, and the Gemara points out that even if she had experience, it's irrelevant. In that case, she gets the longest window. Bisham may say 4 nights. Bishil say Ashtechi Amaka. How long is that? According to Rav, that has to be done visible when you do certain postures, which make it evident that it's coming from the wound. According to Shmuel, she has longer than that. As long as there's still dam, machmas tashmish, which confirms that the makkah is still actively producing dam. The next phase is of age. She's already 12, a nara. In this case, Bisham shorten it to 1 night. Basil say until Matzah Shabbos. We have 2 ways to understand. According to Rav, until Matzah Shabbos, all included. According to Levi, it's 4 oynes. Pick a choice, days or nights. The third stage is she's of age and she has experience. Rasa. Bisham say bilas mitzvah only. Basil say kol halayla. Okay, one more piece. Itmar. That was an interesting story. Bavli Motzadam interacted with his new wife, his Besula, and there was no dam there, which is strange. Typically, the rupturing of the Besulim does generate dam. But this time he found no dam. The second time around he found dam. 2 ways to look at it. One way you could say, look, the Besula, first time he missed it, and then the second time it punctured the Besulim, and there's dam. It's dam Besulim, you're safe and sound. On the other end, you can say, look, if there was dam Besulim there, then you would have had it the first time around. Apparently, this is dam NIDAH. Big machlokes. Rabbi Chanina Amar Tmeya. He goes with the second approach. Rabbi Asi Amar Tahira. Explains the Gemara. Rabbi Chanina Amar Tmeya. Look, because if it was dam besulim, what happened the first time around? Dam besulim mikara. Way back initially, Abba would have come then. Why did it come now? Apparently, this is dam nida. Rabbi Asya, apparently she doesn't have dam besulim. Right? We discussed before. There is such a phenomenon. Rabbi Asya Amar Tahira. He says no, she's tar. Dilma Isram Alikadishmo. We're so confident, right, that typically an Isha has besulim. No reason to think otherwise. Why was it absent the first time? Because Dilma Isram Alikadishmo. It chanced upon him like Shmuel, meaning perhaps their interaction for some reason did not. Rupture the besulim. The Amar Shmuel told us, I could tilt in a way that bypasses the besulim. I have the ability to interact many times, without generating dam besulim, without puncturing the membrane. So perhaps that's what happened here the first time. And the second time around, it did get punctured. So therefore, it's harmless dam besulim b'idach. However, Chanina disagrees. He says you can't refer to Shmuel, who had special abilities, which not every your everyday person has. Shani Shmuel was different. The Rav Gubrei, his talent was great. So that's something unusual. But typically, you would encounter the B'sulim, in which case, there's no dam the first time around. Only the second, apparently, this time it's dam nida. Okay, so in summation, what did we learn today? We spoke about establishing a vest. A vest kavua needs 3 times. A vest she'ena kavua, 1 time is enough to trigger some concern on some level. What's the difference between kavua and ena kavua? Because to uproot a vest kavua, you need 3 replacements, 3 switch outs. Whereas to uproot a vest she'ena kavua, which happened through 1 or even 2 experiences, 1 akira is enough. How do we establish a vest hadilok, a skipping vest? So if she already had a vest kavua beforehand, all agree you need 3 additional. So if 15 was her day, you need 16 next month, 17 to 18. But if she didn't have a vest kavua to begin with, this is the first experience. Rav says some total of 3 is enough. 15, 16, and 17, it's a vest hadilok. When they're small, the first one doesn't count. You need 15 to 16 to 17 and to 18. Now the Mishnah describing various variations of dam besulim, and in general how the dam is beneficial to the Isha's system and indication of fertility. We discussed the allowance, a time frame throughout which we attribute the dam to dam besulim, and it depends on the age factor, it depends on the experience factor. So in summation, we have the underage, in which case Yisham say 4 nights, Bisel say Techia Makar, 2 pshatim on that. We have Igia Zmana, which is a Nara, 12 years and up. Yisham say 1 night, Bisel say until Motzei Shabbos. Doesn't include all 4 complete days or not, those machlekes. We have of age plus experience, Yisham say Bilas Mitzvah, Bisel say throughout the whole night. Then we conclude with an interesting machlekes. First time there was no dam, only the second time. Chanina says apparently it's dam nida. Rasi says no, maybe the first time they bypass the psulim, in which case we can safely assume that the dam that this first-time wife has experienced is indeed dam besulim, and she's tar. All the best to you, and much hatzlacha and b'suras tevis always.